Writing equations of lines. So we got three different forms listed here. We're going to go through and talk about what each one of these represent. So in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, which is probably the most recognized. M is slope, which we did in the last video. And then the b here is your y-intercept, or where it crosses the y-axis. You use this is probably the most, when your equation's like this, it's probably, out of all three of them, the easier one to graph. Okay. Point slope form is exactly that. If you're given a point and a slope, then point slope form is going to be the easiest to use. Again, M is slope. And then x1 comma y1 is a point. This y and this x will stay as is. Standard form we talked about in the last video as well. You can solve for y and get it into any one of these other forms, but first, if you need to find out what the slope was, the little shortcut is negative a, or the opposite of a rather, over b. Alright, we're going to write an equation of a line that passes through 4, 3 and negative 2, 5, and we want that in slope-intercept form. So here's a couple of steps here. Step 1, no matter which form it wants it in, you always got to know you either got to find the slope or you got to know what the slope is. So step 1, find slope. So we're going to use I'm going to use a little formula here. M equals, let me get a different color. I have all these colors to choose from, so I'm going to use them. M equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. First numbers are x's, second numbers are y's. So we're going to do 5 minus 3 divided by negative 2 minus 4. And then just kind of real quick, when you're doing these, just kind of double check. Your points should be like vertical. So negative 2, 5 ought to be a point. And then if you look at these here, 4 and 3 ought to be a point. Okay, then we're just going to simplify that out. 2 over negative 6, and that reduces by 2. We can divide both by 2. We said, in fact, that the slope was negative 1/3, and there you have it, right? So there's our equation. All right, let's look at this example. We're going to write an equation of a line, slope of 3, and passes through 0, 5. What I want to call your attention to is that if they give you a special point, which means they give you the y-intercept, this is the y-intercept. The reason why I know that it is because the x-coordinate is 0. Okay? So if you get to choose which form you get to put it in, pick the easier of the two. So, for example, since this is the y-intercept, I would venture to say that mx plus b would be the easiest. If you get to choose. If it doesn't say. You could have also put it in point slope form. So you say y minus 5 equals negative 3, x minus 0. The 0 would not necessarily have to be there, and then you could have left it. Okay? What if they want it in standard form? That's a whole nother ball game, isn't it? So let's look at that. So I have it in slope-intercept form. I want it in standard form. Remember, that's the ax by equals c, where a, b, and c are integers, and a is positive. Okay? So a must be positive. And a, b, and c are integers. So what does that mean? A, B, and C, they can't be fractions. Okay. All right, so we're going to solve, or rather, we're going to put the x and y on one side and leave the numbers on the right-hand side of the equals. So I'm going to add 3x. Now I ask myself, are a, b, and c all integers? Yes. Is a positive? Yes, we're good to go. So there it is in standard.